People who are willing to work on their own self-esteem, they're willing to reinvent that story. They're willing to like have a look at the patterns, and they are willing to go on a process where they will reinvent every single part of it. So I'm going to read the comment. Is that okay? Dr. Marnie, great
We've
question.
done so many shows together. I don't believe you sometimes when you ask me questions like that. We've done 50 billion shows together.
I know
of course
we
you can read the question. You don't need permission from me.
An
Go
amazing
ahead. Your
response.
show. Your show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marnie. I think knowledge is power. When we do the work by listening to NATV and others, and we learn the terminology, we are on our best way to heal. Yes, and at the same time, Dr. Marnie, my experience is that knowledge alone is no longer power. It's not enough to know these things. You need to be willing to go that step beyond and know how to implement all of this knowledge into your world. So for transformation, there are certain requirements that you're going to have to agree to, like walk alone and to do. There are certain things that you need to put into action into your life. Otherwise, you will always know things, and it will make you cleverer and like smarter, but it will not make you more embodied and more wise. So in order to really transform my clients, I tell them, you need to trust the process. You need to be super open to do things that you haven't done before in order to get results that you've never had before. So the openness combined with a willingness to really walk step after step after step and kind of turn down the volume on the story that you've been telling yourself all your life and turn up your intention. Like, who do you want to be? What is the role that you want to be playing in this, life, in this story called life? And are you willing to, reevaluate? Are these people that I'm like putting on a pedestal and, calling them kings and queens and they're so worthy, are they really more worthy than I am? Or am I willing to step away from the identity that I've been giving myself, perhaps being victimized or, not able to change? So instead of protecting ourselves and pretending to be that certain role only to keep us safe, we need to conjure up the courage to really, just ask the question, is this really who I am and who I want to be? Agreed, we need to take action. Writing really helps as well. So much. Just go into self-reflection and just write everything down. I think that is so super helpful. Just go into contact with where you're standing at the moment. So that takes a huge level of honesty, authenticity, and vulnerability as well. To just be willing.
I want to jump in here just for a second on that particular comment. I love what you've been saying right now. You mentioned about being victimization and self-reflection. I want to say this about Dr. Marnie's comment. She mentions about writing. If everybody, Dr. Marnie's been on the show a number of times. Please make sure you grab her books. They're very helpful if you're dealing with different situations. Dealing with a narcissist or a toxic person. But I do want to say this. You have mentioned a couple of things. Thank you so much, Marnie, for bringing that point out. I just want to go back to a couple of things that you said that were very encouraging for the audience. Audience, please give note to this aspect of self-reflection. Our shows are not scripted, so Deborah and I wing it many different times, and she's going to hear me ask her a question now we did not plan for, but you always spark a thought for me to consider. Self-reflection. What does that mean to you? Give some tips as to how an empath or a person can be self-reflective. That may seem difficult for somebody beginning their journey.
Absolutely.
Could you just give a little bit before you move on to your other points? And thank you, Artful Misfit, for your comment as well. Go ahead, please.
Yes, absolutely, I can. I think that question is beautiful because that's really where the journey starts. The journey starts when you're willing to connect to yourself and become raw and vulnerable. And what that means when you're really starting off is just moving away from your stance, from your like rigid stance that you have on things, and start opening up to the fact that, you know, there's another side of the story as well, and that your story is not the only side that you can take. If you're willing to have the openness to just see what part did I have in my situation, what led to the situation that I'm in, like how would my story sound if I wasn't the victim in this? How would the story sound if I had actually chosen this for myself? What are the gifts that I actually can receive out of this learning? Is there learning in my suffering? Is there a part of the story that is actually in my favor? So when you start asking yourself all of these questions, what you do is you kind of start becoming more within the flow, you start flowing more, and you start bringing movement into your story. So as soon as there's movement, as soon as it's not stagnant anymore, there's room for transformation, and that's what we want to achieve. So it's always about like taking a different point of view, and just if you ask me, there are only very few, like just a couple of like truths in this universe, like truths that don't move, and everything else is just a point of view. And if you can take on that perspective, then everything starts to move, starts to flow, and you become more like water in your own process.
Boy, I tell you, you keep doing it, and I know you got some tips that you want to lay out to everybody, but I got to pick out the word stagnant now. So I'm just going to keep picking out words while we're here together. So stagnant, stationary, they're not moving, even emotionally, right? Not just physically, but just emotionally not moving, kind of stuck maybe in victim mode, a number of other things we could say. How can a person recognize that they're stagnant? That may seem like a really dumb question, but how does a person know that they're stagnant?
Well, you know, I really want to, I watched that movie in the movie theaters when it first came out. So you know how old I am now when I'm going to tell you. The Matrix, okay? So there's...
You're 18, 19? I don't...
Just a couple of days above.
Yeah.
There's Mr. Smith who keeps showing up, and he keeps showing up, and if there's not one of him, there's an army of him. And when you've when you've dealt with one of them, then you turn around and there's another 1,000 behind you. So there's no way you can like wrestle every single Mr. Smith down to the ground. And when you in your own life start getting a feeling that you are living the same kind of situations over and over and over again. For example, you keep meeting the same kind of romantic relationship. It's always the same kind of toxicity. You keep having the experience that people, you know, you give them like a small finger and they take the whole arm, or you can't say no. You have really like difficult time with boundaries. When you keep meeting same situations or very similar situations, then it's time to turn the mirror within and just have a look at what may be my part in this situation. Is it really that I'm a magnet for like all of the toxic people in the world and I have no part in it? Because I have news for you if you think that.
I was trying not to smile when you said, because I know how you talk. I know how
it's an illusion. This universe does not work in like one-way roads. It's always like in both directions. So you're going to be receiving what you're putting out there. And now, as an empath, probably you're going to have a huge heart, the best intentions, on the look for love. And you might just not understand why, you know, I'm so loving, I really want like a respectful relationship, so why am I being a magnet for all of these things coming into my life that are speaking a completely different language, like the toxic and, you know, just unfulfilling? And the answer is because you have your intention and that's what's on the surface, but underneath that you have your energy. And your energy is always going to speak so much louder than any intention or any words could do. So superficially you might be saying, I really want this relationship, but your energy might be saying, that's super dangerous because I don't want to show myself and I'm going to keep on building walls. And your vibe speaks so much louder than any word could ever speak. And so you're just going to be broadcasting a signal that you don't want. And you've practiced being yourself so many times. You've practiced it over and over and over again. And there are things that you've repeated so many times. Your victimhood, the way that you speak to people, the way that you speak to yourself and your inner dialogue, the things that you believe to be true about the world, about other people. And by doing that, you've mastered an energy and you've mastered an identity that you decided that you were. Even though that's not the truth. It's only your point of view.
And our point of view can be changed. It doesn't have to stay fixed, correct?
Always. It's always flowing. So that's one of the rules of the universe that doesn't change. Everything flows all of the time. Your personality is just and I want to say it in a way that's going to trigger and that's going to activate, but that's just the way I am because I know that.
Yes, I know that's the way you are.
It helps best. So your personality is actually just like a set of survival mechanisms that you've put one after the other, after the other, after the other to protect you. And so all that you're doing is actually protecting and projecting all of the time. You're protecting yourself while building walls, and you're projecting out on the outside. You're saying, I have no idea why this keeps on happening to me. I am so frustrated. Why do I always seem to attract the same people? So all that you're doing is protecting and projecting. And what you're actually being, if you're in this kind of stagnant state where you're not willing to have a look at what your part may be in this equation, then what you're actually doing is you're being extremely inauthentic. You're going out into your world and you're faking it. You're playing a role. You have adopted a role that you've mastered to perfection, and what you're actually doing is you're keeping this role upright, like your victimhood, the helplessness, the anger perhaps, the judgment, the criticism, and it's actually very hypocrite without knowing that it is. So that is really hurtful when you realize that at first. And I know how it feels. And my experience still is that the only way out is through. You need to face yourself. You need to acknowledge where you are. If I take you on a ride in my car, we're going to program the GPS, and we need your start position, and we need, the place you want to go to in order to be able to calculate the journey. So step number 1 is always acknowledge, oh wow, this is where I am. This is where I'm meeting myself where I am. And I'm not bypassing it. I'm not, putting glitter on it. I'm
sweeping it under the rug, any of the above, passing the buck, as it were, passing it to somebody else, shoveling the blame, looking for accountability, any of the above. I'm gonna. Okay, so some of my notes, what you've been saying. So projecting and protecting. So a person decides all of a sudden that, you know what, I'm going through so much. It must be the other person. That doesn't mean it's not true. That could be the case too, based upon what you're saying. Absolutely. But you're talking about looking at whether we're projecting or protecting. What mode are we in with our personality that we could be covering it over? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just doing an overview of what you just said. Maybe we're covering it over with anger. And we're with all of our friends, and they're all angry. They're all jumping in because they're our friends. So if our friend is angry, then I'm angry too. I don't really know why, but I'm going to go with what they got a good reason. But that anger, over drinking, over shopping, all these other things could be masking a personality issue of projecting or protecting mode that we've mastered.
Yes.
to move
Yes.
away from being authentic. In other words, we become professional fakers
Most certainly.
when
So
it comes
if
to our
you-
emotions
Yes.
and other aspects.
Yes. You know, when you have small kids, you say it's going to take them up to like 10,000 hours of practice to become a master in something. So if you want to really have
Okay.
like a tennis pro, or if you want to have like, you know, someone
get you.
playing checkers amazingly, playing the violin, whatever the case may be, in order to master a discipline, you need to put in practice. So you've been practicing being angry. You've been practicing being frustrated. You've been practicing hate, sadness, helplessness, all of these things.
Well,
And
it's a
you've
part.
been-
It's a part of the entertainment too. Maybe the person's entertainment is they're watching shows that foster those kind of
when
behaviors
you
as well.
watch when you watch
Or
these
music,
things,
or music.
Exactly. And what are
Yeah.
you doing? You're practicing it.
You're practicing it, yeah.
Yes, you're playing in your mind. You're getting yourself hyped. You're getting yourself angry and
Feeding
or
it, yeah.
sad, or you're feeding into that field. And in your mind can't really differentiate if you're really having that experience in the outside world or if everything is playing in your mind. So no matter when you're giving these kind of energies your focus, this is when you're practicing. So, the question I really want to ask, you know, someone who's there and who's stagnant and who's saying, I'm so angry or I'm so frustrated. And then of course they're going to go out and look for other people who are frustrated and angry and
Of course.
mad
Yeah.
as well, because they're
It's
looking for
understandable.
connection.
Uh-huh.
They're looking for connection, and it's going to give them the illusion of belongingness. If you know, you can bond through these kind of things, no problem. But it's a protection as well, and actually, all of these emotions are, you know, they have like one godfather of emotions above, and that emotion is fear. It's fear. You're
The Darth
scared.
Vader of control of all emotions will be
Yeah, it's
that
like
one.
the mothership.
It's
It's
a
the
mothership.
mothership.
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's controlling everything. It's an undercurrent that's propping up other types of emotions or fake
Yes.
happy emotions. It's
Yes.
being covered
Yes.
through porn, drinking, shopping, overeating, all the above. But addressing the personality aspects of who we are and the fear itself means that we're going to be moving toward more of an authentic and relaxed individual and not someone who's propping up, or as it were, we essentially have to put in the hours to move toward transformation. It's not something that's just
100%.
going to come from the sky or meeting another person and replacing the other person.
Yes.
That's not the answer.
100%, and I love what you just said, because fear is the number one killer when it comes to, you know, really standing up for yourself, you know, investing yourself into a process, like being willing to walk that path, to go on the process. So fear is always going to keep you stagnant. Fear is going to keep you in your smaller self. Fear is going to stop you from changing. And now the most important thing, fear is going to keep you away from your authentic self. Because in our source, we are light and love. This is who we are. This is our authentic self. But when you cover that up, you're going to come up with all of these different things that actually pay into the account of fear. And this is what keeps you away. So the question that is super vulnerable that I like to ask clients as well, are you willing to practice confidence? Are you willing to practice ease?
Okay.
Are you willing to practice love?
Time out. No, time out. Your timeouts are here on our show because I have to stop because that's too much for my brain. Just time out for a second. We have to practice confidence? Is that what you just said?
Absolutely.
Okay, hold that start for a second. I got to do something here. One of the members gave you a thumbs up, and I got to let me get back over here on my the doohickey here, and I got to do this. That's for Miroslava. I see you, Miro, off of Facebook, I believe that is. So thank you so much. She gave you a thumbs up there. I can see that on my screen. I apologize. I didn't do that earlier. Thank you so much. She is a member of the channel. Hopefully soon we will get everything together and you'll see her podcast on our show as well. Oh man, we'll have to address that maybe another show. We've gone already 29 minutes discussing what we have. Go ahead and say what you're going to say. I apologize for interrupting. And I got to put up, Dr. Marnie has a thought here for you as well.
Dr. Marnie, I was there at first. It does help to connect with others who have also been there, but who will listen. To move towards healing, growth, and authenticity, you must take action and stop ruminating. Absolutely, 100%. And, I always compare the healing process. It's like a long, you're in a hallway. It's like you're moving from one room to the other, to the other, to the other. And that first room is like creating consciousness. So of course it's going to give you, help, and it's going to make you feel good to connect with others who have been through the same thing. But then comes a time for you to move on and to go to the next step. And then, because if you're going to stay in that first room and connect and be in all the, self-help groups and platforms and keep complaining and keep ruminating, just as you said, change is not going to happen. So it's a super good spot to start at, but then it's up to you to really move on. And what I was saying before we read the comment is...
I'm glad you remembered, because I was sitting there right now trying to go, what was she talking about? Okay. Thank you, my friend. Go ahead.
You have to realize that all of the things, your reality, like the play that you've been putting on, the story that you have been telling, you have a certain role, sometimes even more than one role, different like personalities that you put on just to help you navigate within your life. And you've done nothing wrong. That's the most important. Like, don't be hard on yourself. We all do it at some level.
Good point. Yes, that's true.
But then comes a point where you can get so honest with yourself and just tell yourself, okay, this role that I've been playing of like helpless victim, and there are offenders in my life, there are people that are worth more than me, I'm just little, you have been practicing this role over and over and over again. Wow. And then you're coming, like, for example, talking to me and telling me, I want ease. But that's not, are you willing to put in the practice? Are you willing to like listen to someone who knows how the path is, and walk the path? Are you willing, to just put in the hours of work and practice love and serenity and joy and, passion? What are you willing to put in? So that's
and I'm gonna piggyback that. You correct me if I say this wrong, but also make the investment. Somebody can make the investment for pizza or for other things, but maybe they need a workshop. Maybe they just need something that works for them to address what they need to handle. The fear, the projection, the protection, overprotection.
Absolutely.
Yes, there may be things that created those situations and or people, but I love what Dr. Marnie said, which is another reason why it's still up on the screen. She mentioned growth. That's what you talk about as well. Authenticity, that's a part of your wheelhouse. But she also mentioned action, and she mentioned to stop ruminating. All of four of those are things that you talk about. She also has in her books as well. And I'm telling you, audience, members, subscribers, and viewers, this is what you want. You want to move in a way in which there is healing, growth, authenticity, and action. Yes. And that will help you to stop ruminating. Yes. And I just wanted to toss that in there for our loyal viewers. When you come here, we're not negating the anger or wrath that you may feel, or the fact that you were the prey or a victim to someone. But we're asking you to look beyond that to where you can live in authenticity and move past those situations and circumstances to the best of your ability at whatever given moment. So we're here to have these discussions, Deborah and myself and others, but we are going to have something special for you. Just keep an eye out for it in July and the beginning of August, in which you will be able to be a part of a working process to move in a transformational way with your emotions, so that they do not dominate you, or the fear dominates you to the point of inactivity. Go ahead. I just had to toss that in. I'm going to need to make that a commercial, so I just hit a button and we'll go ahead. you were going to say.
No, I just love it when you freestyle with it. That's really cool.
You know I do. You know I do. Just
Yeah.
it's coming out of me. So, but go ahead.
People so often are caught up in such a how I was saying. I've been rambling on about this for half an hour.
You're not rambling. Go ahead.
They're stuck in their own story, and it's so convincing,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
they're so routine at it. So they started to believe it themselves, and they've set up a denial show. They're denying themselves the help that would actually make their walls that they've set up around them that are keeping them so lonely, they would actually melt if they started to really invest themselves in what will bring long-term joy and abundance in their life, and just happiness and fulfillment, and stop telling themselves that the pizza is going to bring them the love that they need. It's
Hey,
not the pizza.
That's actually a good one. That's actually a really good one.
It's not.
Nothing wrong with pizza, but
No,
it's
I
not
love
the
pizza.
thing.
Pizza
But
is
it's not the
my
thing.
favorite,
I get
but
what you're
it's,
saying.
you
We've
know,
talked about this, yes.
Because what you can do is you can continue to navigate within your labyrinth and tell yourself the same old story and just go
Over
on
and
and
over.
go on
Yeah.
over and over. And what you said as well, I would like to add something, because you said we're definitely not taking away from the pain and the suffering of people who might have been in really super toxic situations. No, it's the exact opposite. But staying in that, toxicity and staying in that mode, there is no solution there. There is no solution to be found. The solution is on another level. So, sometimes it takes someone to give you new information, new impulses
Absolutely.
and inspirations to get
Absolutely.
yourself out of, that page that you've been looking on. So
That's true. And navigating toward those people, finding those people, is what NATV, New Attitude TV, is all about for you, for all of you that are here and those that are members of the channel. So become a member of the channel. And we're going to set up, like I said, something else for you. You'll see it coming, and Deborah's going to be a part of it, and a number of others. Julia Zimmerman and a number of others are going to be a part of it, in which they're able to help you navigate beyond the anger, to facilitate what you're feeling in the moment, to move beyond it, no matter what situation you find yourself in or economic situation you find yourself in. There's going to be something here geared, made just for you. And Deborah's going to be a part of it along with a number of others. So you're going to be able to experience something instead of just watching a video or a live show. You're going to be able to have an interactive way of growth. And that's what we're going to be able to provide for you. And we have, and when I say we, I'm talking Deborah, myself. We were late to the show because we were talking about it. And there's others that are looking to be a part of this, that we're going to be able to help you to navigate. Instead of just telling you what you need to be doing, we're going to get you to move beyond just stopping your ruminating. We're going to work with you so that you'll be able to do so. And you're going to love it. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
I'm super
go ahead.
excited when I hear you talking about it, because how beautiful does it feel? I know how alone you can feel when you're
Bingo.
tackling
Absolutely.
you're tackling these sorts of things, and you might feel like I must be the only person who has gotten herself
Absolutely.
in this situation, and it feels
That's
so
right.
sticky. But then when all of a sudden you have a team of experts
There you go.
who tell you
Right.
exactly you are not alone, and we've been
Yeah.
through what you are going through
Yeah.
right now, and just to shine a light on the path so that everyone can decide to walk this path, and it makes the whole journey so much more enjoyable, and the fear kind of melts when you're not alone with your topics. So I think that what you're
absolutely
planning is
right.
beautiful. It's
I'm
really
getting to
beautiful.
the point I'm going okay, don't say no more. I'm telling myself that because until we release it, the reason why I'm saying that is because we want to make sure you're able to come and unwrap it and get the biggest thrill because you found something that's going to be able to help you. And yes, Deborah just said it. A number of experts going to be there to help you. Many of them have aligned themselves with the channel, and they're looking forward to us launching this available to the public, in which you'll be able monthly to come in and get what you need and move on about your life. Deborah, any other points before we end the show, we've gone 39 minutes, and
Yes.
any other points you want to share before we go?
That. If you have this one life and you have your chance to make out of it the most beautiful story you've ever heard of, you can really fall in love with your own story. And the only thing that's holding you back at the moment is your fear. And you're thinking that your fear is keeping you protected, but what it's actually doing is it's building up walls and keeping you from, experiencing life, keeping people and connections away from you. And I just want to tell you, the grass on the other side is really greener. It really is. So it's what you've been hearing is true. And I just want to make so many people comfortable with doing that next step, that next obvious step, because the only way through your situation is like going straight through the fear. And might as well do it with people who are fun-loving and know what they're talking about.
That's true. That's true. I like that. That was really good. We have touched on a number of different things. When it comes to, we're just going to do a little recap for everybody. Deborah had no idea I was going to do this. But a little recap for everybody. I'm going to toss something out to you. Say whatever you like for the audience and for the members and the subscribers. Self-reflection in a nutshell. If somebody's trying to move to get stronger in their self-reflection, just again, what does that mean again, self-reflection?
So the power of the questions that you're asking yourself is going to be equivalent to the joy you have in your life. If you keep asking yourself, why am I being victimized? Why is he so mean? Why does nobody understand me or nobody love me? Then this is like the kind of ceiling that you're going to have to your own freedom and joy and emotional mastery. But then when the quality of your questions get better, then you're going to experience a completely different life, and that's what self-reflection is actually all about.
I've got to do this real quick here. A great point you just made there. That's for Stanley. Stanley, thank you for showing up, saying hello to everybody. We're going to be ending the show here in just a moment. We're doing a recap here, Stanley, my friend. So let's. I'm going to toss another one out to you. If people see or feel or may be inclined to think that they're maybe faking it, and you use the expression putting in the hours, as it were, to master something, what is your recommendation for someone who wants to do that? They want to put in the hours. What should they do outside of calling you? Because don't call me, you guys. But go ahead. I'm just going to tell you, play tic-tac-toe and breathe. Yeah. But go ahead.
That's actually a beautiful advice.
I know, because it works. I do it. We do it over here in my house. We just play tic-tac-toe.
If you're noticing that you're stuck in a place, because it's super difficult, hardly anyone is going to say, you know what, I've been fake. No, that's really rare that someone will say that. But if you're noticing that you're having the same patterns over and over and over again, and you're rigid with it, then, just stopping and just, connecting to yourself and just being willing to, like, play with your circumstances and just, start playing with it. That it's really helpful. That would be an advice, because the actual goal of this whole life is to dance with life. And so if you can just get more playful with it and have like a sense of ease with it and a sense of humor as well, even in the most difficult situation, that is something that will give you a tremendous amount of power and flexibility.
When it comes to situations and circumstances, I'm just making this up, you guys. I'm not a certified anything other than happy. I'm certifiably happy. But what I was going to say is we are giving you full permission on this little corner of YouTube to say, play with your food. No, I'm just kidding. No, play with those circumstances. Be playful with your life. Don't let circumstances that you can't control suck the life out of you. We appreciate you being here this morning. We gone 44 minutes, and what did we say? We were only going to go like 30 minutes. We just kind of like. So everybody, we look forward to talking to you soon. Deborah, you and I, we will chat a little bit. Like I said, I wasn't going to be able to, but we've got some time left where we can do that when we're done with the show. Everybody, there is another show coming at some time today. I forgot when it was. It's at 1:00, I think it is, California time here.